I'm back. Alright, sorry it took so long to get back to you guys. Told you I was going to be doing a question and answer vid. Just took me longer than it should have. I've just been really busy, so sorry about that. I'll try to shape up, but I want to get to it. Don't want to waste any more time. So, first question. What do I want to see happen in the UFC welterweight division? Well, since this question was asked, we found out some stuff about the division. Matt Hughes, Matt Serra, going to be fighting in November or December. Side note, that pisses me off. They're putting off a title fight in the most stacked division in all of MMA in order to pump up the season 6 of the UFC of the Ultimate Fighter. That's BS. This is about fighting. The UFC is about fighting. They don't make all their money on the Ultimate Fighter. They make all their money in pay-per-views, and in pay-per-views we want to see the welterweight title fought for. So shame on you, UFC, for doing this. It's total BS. Champions never should be involved in that show. It should be, other established superstars that you can pull out of the picture for 6 months or 8 months or however long. So I hate that that's happening. Something that I want to see happen, or actually we'll start with UFC 71 is a match that I'm really looking forward to in the welterweight division. That's Josh Burkman against Karo Parisyan. Karo's one of my favorite fighters. I think he's awesome. He's exciting, and Burkman's had really good. He's done really good in the UFC since the Ultimate Fighter. Only loss coming to John Fitch, who unfortunately will not be fighting a top talent guy. I don't know why. He's 5-0, and he's dominated all 5 wins. I was hoping he'd get somebody like Diego Sanchez, but they've announced him again at the Ultimate Fighter finale, fighting Rowan Carniero or whatever. I've never even heard of this guy. I haven't even looked on SureDog to look up to see who he's fought, and I don't even know what his record is. I don't even know what he looks like. So that's another thing that I'm a little pissed off about the welterweight division. Then the other thing is I think we got a good chance of seeing it. They're both rumored to be fighting on the August card. GSP, Josh Koscheck. Koscheck doesn't deserve a title shot after the lackluster win against Diego Sanchez. If he would have dominated him, then yeah, you could be talking he might deserve the title shot more than Matt Hughes. But he didn't. He just played it safe and jabbed and counterpunched and won a decision. So, shame on you, Josh Koscheck. With Diego Sanchez now in the now out there, and I don't know who they're gonna have him fight. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody. But hopefully they don't give him some can, but they probably will. Okay, moving on. So that's what I want to see happen in the welterweight division. So sorry, a lot of those questions have kind of already been asked or already been answered. So I apologize for that. But moving on. How good can Michael Bisping get? I'm gonna say that the sky is the limit for this kid. He's got raw talent, even though he hasn't fought the best competition. You can't deny the talent that you see in his fighting. He's got good footwork. He's got good head movement. His striking is superb. He's not had any trouble on the ground. He actually has 4 submissions in his career. Now they're not against big names or anything, but still, he seems to be a very well-rounded fighter. And he's got the drive because he doesn't mind training. He trains hard. He loves to fight, and those are things that you look for in the great champions. The only thing we need to see is if he has the heart of a champion. We need to see him get blasted in the first round of some fight, get bloodied up, just get the crap kicked out of him at 10-8 round, and see if he survives. And then if he survives, see if he can turn it on in the second round and come back and win, or come back and make a fight out of it, like Forrest Griffin did against Tito Ortiz. So, and hopefully we're going to see that in Bisping's next fight. Hasn't been announced who it's against or rumored or anything, but I'm hoping Machida. Timeline-wise, it should work out. So, next question: Chuck versus Shogun. Chuck versus Soku Joe. Chuck versus Shogun, I'm not going to talk about. I think it could happen on the Pride versus UFC pay-per-view. If it doesn't, then in a future video I will address the issue. Or address the fight, but for now I'm not going to talk about it. Just I'll say this: it's a very even fight. I see it going either way. Now Soku Joe, the guy who left this comment, and I'm not trying to point. You might have seen this or whatever, but I'm not trying to downplay what you said or anything. But You mentioned that you didn't like Chuck at all because he fights wrestlers at ground fighters, and knocks them all, and he knocks them all out. Well, that's what Soku Joe's done too. He's fought 2 ground specialists. I mean, masters of submission, in Ricardo Arona and Rogerio Nogueira, and he's knocked them both out. Let's see him fight another striker. You know, on YouTube, you know, I've seen that fight, him against Glover Teixeira, another striker, and Glover Teixeira beat his ass. Oddly enough, Glover Teixeira trains with Chuck. I would say at this point, if Soku Joe fought a striker of Chuck's capabilities, he would get flattened. I don't think that's as good a fight as everybody else thinks. I also don't put Soku Joe in my top 5 quite yet. He's definitely top 10 light heavyweight, but I want to see him fight a little bit more diverse audience, or diverse fighters than what he's fought so far. Let's let him fight. Let's let him fight Henderson or Shogun. You know, let's see that fight. He beats one of those guys. I'm all about putting him in the top. He'll be in the top 3 in my opinion if he beats those guys. So yeah. Next question: who will stop this run of upsets? June 16th, Rich Franklin over Martin Kampmann at UFC 72. Or if Kampmann can pull it off, BJ Penn versus Jens Fuller. Penn will dominate that fight, and I think Franklin will dominate Kampmann too. Next question, my feelings on the Pride buyout. Okay. It's freaking awesome. For anybody out there that doesn't think this is a good thing, please message me, comment any of my tell me why you don't think it is. I don't see how having 95% of the top talent of MMA under one roof, under one ownership group, is a bad thing. I don't understand how the fact that we're going to see a UFC versus Pride, you know, Kang versus Franklin, Liddell versus Shogun, you know, Mock Sakurai against Sean Scher, BJ Penn versus Takanori Gomi 2, Fedor versus Krokop or Couture, whoever. I don't see how getting all those fights is a bad thing. You know, if you love Pride and you don't want it to be owned by basically the UFC, you know, suck it up, because Pride, when they were owned by DSC, got run into the ground. That's why they had to sell the company. That's not going to happen with the Fertitta brothers. They are great businessmen. They own the 4th largest hotel chain in the world. They own the UFC, which, come on, they've made MMA the fastest growing sport in America. UFC has done that. And I'm not giving credit to any other organization. UFC has made that sport. So the fact that we're going to get to see all those fights is awesome. Boxing's biggest problem: four belts for each weight class. Who's the champion? Oh, he's the recognized champion. No, bullshit. Who's the champion? There's no undisputed champions in boxing. There's no. I mean, you know, so it's just aggravating. And you know, we're finally going to get answers. Champion against champion. Who's better? Pride versus UFC. Who's better? So go for it. Go. Yes, it's good. So, and if it's bad, tell me why, because I can't find a reason. Next question: will Crow Cup get a shot at the title? Yeah. I think he should take the time off, finish his term in Parliament, get back to working for H.E.J. Luco, fight Tim Sylvia when they're both healthy and ready to go again, beat the crap out of him, and then I think you could argue, with an impressive victory for either of those guys in that fight, you could arguably say they deserve a title shot. Or another. I mean, he's still got 4 fights left. So as long as he doesn't fight 3 more guys, you know, because they won't give a title shot in the last fight of his contract. And now that they own Pride, I don't think they're worried about him going back to Pride, because, you know, so, you know, he'll either retire at the end of this or he'll sign another contract. So I think he will. And mark my words, Crow Cop will have heavyweight gold around his waist before his career is over. So, all right, well, that's it for now. Got some other questions I got to answer on the next vid, and I'll post that in a few days. So, cool. Well, that's it for me. Night Train, Shocker, and I'm out.